Okay, I'll start. Good evening, all, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Akshay. I am the project director for Moneylife Foundation. Allow me to welcome you all to today's webinar on a topic of utmost relevance and significance: Maharashtra's stamp duty amnesty scheme. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, Moneylife Foundation is a 14-year-old non-profit organization primarily engaged in spreading financial literacy and advocacy for savers. We also make efforts to spread consumer awareness on a variety of issues that are of interest to our members. Now, stamp duty is an integral component of any immovable property transaction, and it often comes with its own set of challenges and penalties if it is not paid on time. However, with the introduction of Maharashtra's stamp duty amnesty scheme, there's a chance to rectify past discrepancies and possibly avoid the burden of hefty penalties. In the next hour or so, we'll delve into the heart of the scheme, dissecting the key features, eligibility criteria, and the application process. Our aim here is simple: to empower you with the knowledge and insights necessary to navigate the scheme effectively and ensure compliance with the law. But before we embark on this journey, allow me to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Ramesh Prabhu. With over 3 decades of experience in the field of chartered accountancy, Mr. Prabhu stands as a beacon of knowledge and expertise. He is not only the founder partner at R.S. Prabhu and Associates Chartered Accountants, but also holds the distinguished position of chairman at the Maharashtra Societies Welfare Association. Mr. Prabhu's contribution to shaping cooperative society policies and legislation in Maharashtra are unparalleled. His insights and guidance have been instrumental in drafting laws for deemed conveyance and influencing the RERA Act, making him a leading authority on matters concerning housing societies, redevelopment, and RERA. Before proceeding further, allow me to share some ground rules for today's session. We have kept all of you on mute for the benefit of all involved and will only unmute you during the Q&A session. For optimal viewing, we suggest that you keep the webinar on speaker view. This meeting is also being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, Moneylife TV. During the Q&A session, please use the raise hands button that is available on Zoom if you wish to ask any questions. Also, a sincere request to please keep your questions brief and to the point. Please feel free to use the chat section to raise your comments, questions, or observations, but do send it directly in the public forum, marking everyone. Please do not send us a private message, as we would not be able to monitor or reply to you while the session is live. Please also note that your cameras may be on by default and you could be broadcasting your background or homes for everyone to see. If you wish to maintain your privacy, you may turn off your camera now. And now, without taking much more time, may I request Mr. Prabhu to please take over and start the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Akshay, and Moneylife Foundation entire team for giving me this opportunity. And Yogesh Sakpal, the Deputy Director, and Suchita Dalal, Devashis, and all the team members of Moneylife Foundation who have given me this opportunity to interact with you and to discuss about a very landmark, I would say, the scheme announced by the government of Maharashtra. This stamp duty amnesty scheme has come many schemes so far. So this must be the 6th or 7th amnesty scheme since 1994. So 1994-95 was the first amnesty scheme which government introduced. Thereafter, every 3 years, 4 years, the scheme was getting introduced. However, when we compare with the earlier schemes and the current schemes, the current scheme is one of the landmark decisions or landmark scheme. Why I am saying this? In the present scheme, for the first time, for the government's wisdom, whatever may be the wisdom they have given the waiver in the stamp duty itself. It's something unique for us, where the government has not only given the relief, 100% relief in the penalties which is being levied, but they are also given relief in the stamp duty. And secondly, this particular scheme, the amnesty scheme, is for the 40 years documents which are from 1st January 1980 till 31st December 2020. Whatever the documents that has been executed, where the stamp duty has not been properly paid, now you have got an opportunity to pay them. And when we say pay them, that means whatever is applicable. Now, this scheme also has, two phases of application. The first phase of application started on 1st December 2023, and now it is going to end on 29th of February 2024. Now, if you are putting the application for this 40 years document, which is insufficiently stamped, you will be able to get the benefit of the scheme, and this is called early bird scheme, early bird incentives. If you are coming early, lot of benefits are there. What are those benefits? We'll discuss. The second phase will start from 1st March 2024, and it is expected to end on 31st March 2024, 1 month. Possibly that also may be extended by 1 or 2 months, because we will make a representation. Because earlier the first phase was supposed to end on 31st January 2024, with the representation that a lot of institutions have made and the organizations had done, they have increased it by 1 month. So we will discuss threadbare as to what is amnesty scheme, what is stamp duty, how it is going to help. So I'll just allow me to share the PPT, which will certainly help each one of you to understand the scheme much better. So the scheme has 1 minute. Yeah. Just only 1 minute. I think
So you can click on slideshow and make it full screen.
yeah, that is what I was thinking. Slideshow, because this meeting is being recorded and live stream, that is coming on the top. So therefore, I'm not able to see that slideshow, and that is not getting connected. I think there is some other button which
F5. You can press F5.
Control F5 or just
No,
F5?
just
Only F5.
Again, F5 is not there on my laptop.
It is the top row at the
Top row, escape, then all
F1, F2, F3, F4, and F5.
Okay, F5. Yeah. So
Yeah.
straight away F5.
You can just press F5.
I think F5 I am trying, but that is not coming.
No, you have to select.
योगी सर
हा.
राईट साइडला जिथे 82 लिहिले ना त्याच्या बाजूला बघा एक सिम्बॉल आहे मायनसच्या बाजूला.
F5 बघितलं मी. F5 आहे. I saw that.
नाही इथे राईट साइडला 82 झुमिंगचं लिहिलं बघा, दाखवलं बघा कॉर्नरला राईटला खाली.
हा करेक्ट.
हा त्याच्या बुक तिथे क्लिक करा तुम्ही.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. Okay, for the inconvenience. Okay. So let me take you through the entire slide. Let us understand first of all what is stamp duty. Stamp duty is nothing but a type of tax which is payable to the government. A question normally is asked normally the question is asked, what is stamp duty all about? Should we pay it? So naturally, this is nothing but it's a type of tax which is payable to the government. Now the question arises, if it is a tax payable to the government, naturally, what is this type of tax? The stamp duty is a tax payable to the state government or to the central government. If there are a document which is connected with the central government law, then of course it is called Indian Stamp Act. It will be going to the central government. We are today on the Maharashtra Stamp Act, and therefore it is a stamp duty which is payable to the state government. Now we have seen different types of taxes. We have seen income tax. Income tax is payable on the income. Then comes GST, comes on goods and service, what we are receiving or what we are buying. So that is on the GST. Then there is a property tax which is paid on the property. So therefore, what is stamp duty? Stamp duty is a duty which has to be paid, tax which has to be paid on the instrument. Whatever the document or the instrument which is executed in the state of Karnataka, and which is, of course, those instruments which are recorded in the Maharashtra Stamp Act, on that you have to pay the duty, that is called stamp duty. Now, where this is mentioned, of course, Section 3 of the Maharashtra Stamp Act 1958, which started from the year 1958, that is where it has been shown that the stamp duty is payable on all the documents or the instrument, they call it as an instrument, which are given in Schedule 1 of that. When we look at the Schedule 1 of the Maharashtra Stamp Act 1958, you will see 63 types of various documents. Each of the document or instrument is known as nothing but they are called as instruments or they are called articles. Let us say the article number 1 is affidavit. So affidavit is called one article. So article 5 is agreement for sale or agreements. Article 25 is conveyance. Like this, different types of articles are there. Article 36 is related to live and license. So each of the articles are given certain number, and there can be sub articles also. So therefore 63 types of articles have been defined, on which what is the rate of stamp duty payable, what is the rate applicable. The way we have income, different types of income has got a different rate of taxes. Similarly, certain incomes are exempted from the tax. Same way, certain instruments are exempted. The instrument which is recorded or which is mentioned in Schedule 1, they are taxable as per the stamp duty given at the rate mentioned in the Schedule 1. But there are instruments which are not mentioned there. They are exempted from the, of course, stamp duty. So therefore, they are all payable on the instrument. Now, only one on proper payment of stamp duty, an instrument is admissible in the court of law. See, Maharashtra Stamp Act, Section 34 clearly says, any instrument which is not duly stamped is not considered as a evidence in the court of law. Now, suppose tomorrow I buy a property and I have not paid the appropriate stamp duty, then that will not be considered as evidence in the court of law. Just because it is not considered in the evidence of court of law, then I will not be able to claim my rights, which I am going to derive from that instrument. Therefore, in order to derive the right and title or claim certain rights from arising from that instrument, then I need to pay the appropriate stamp. Now, what happens? Suppose I have a document on which I have paid only 10 rupees stamp duty as against, let us say, 10,000 which I was supposed to pay. Now, 9,990 stamp duty I have not paid. Now, in that, if I want to go to the court of law and to exercise my rights of, the rights deriving from that instrument, naturally the court will say, please go and get the document regularized. Unless until you pay the appropriate stamp duty, we will not recognize that document. Therefore, your claim will not be admitted, which means you have to get it regularized. If I want to get it regularized, then naturally the government not only will take the stamp duty which is applicable, they will also charge me 2% penalty per month or part then. Suppose, imagine a situation where your instrument is about 10 years old. Per year, 24% penalty, which means for 10 years, it is 240% penalty. And up to 16 years, it comes to around 400 times. So, sorry, 4 times, which means 400% stamp duty. Up to 400% penalty can be levied by the state government in order to regularize those documents. And there are other consequences if we don't pay the stamp duty, which I will come little later. But to understand that if a document is there and I need to show it as a evidence in the court of law, then it is very important for me to pay the stamp duty. Now, this particular scheme, now last 40 years, if somebody has not paid the stamp duty on their instrument, they are insufficiently paid. Now, here is a situation where a lot of penalties will be waived and part of the stamp duty also be waived. which we will see a little later. Now, let me take you to the next question. If this instrument is to be done properly, then I have to pay, as I said, I have to pay the stamp duty full. I have to also pay the penalty if I have not paid in time. Now, let me take you to the next slide. Why to pay the stamp duty? Because stamp duty has to pay it because it is a provisions of the law. And as I said, it is section 3 of the Maharashtra Stamp Act says, and there is a legal axiom. You cannot say that, no, I was not aware that if I don't pay the stamp duty, I will be penalized and my document will not be considered as a evidence of the court of law. So ignorantia juris non excused, which means ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So therefore, I would suggest that it is important for us on the instrument we have to see whether the stamp duty is applicable, and if the stamp duty is applicable, we have to pay that stamp duty under any circumstances. The second reason is that ensure the legal validity of the document, which I just explained you, that unless until you pay the proper stamp duty, the legality of the document will not be there. Section 34 of the Maharashtra Stamp Act is very clear that unless until the proper stamp duty is paid, the document will not be considered as evidence in the court of law. So having said that, the next question arises is that as per section 34, instrument is not duly stamped is inadmissible as a evidence in the court of law, which I said. And the stamp duty can be paid by purchasing a stamp paper, or nowadays by through a challan also, online payment also can be made. The next question comes that under section 34, and if it is not considered as evidence in the court of law and you want to regularize it, as I said, there's a penalty of 2% per month. Per month you have to pay 2% penalty in order to get the stamp duty regularized from the date of signing of the document till the full stamp duty along with the penalty is paid. So therefore, it is very important for us to pay the stamp duty. Second thing, very important, the penalty can go up to 4 times of the stamp duty evaded, or let us say 400%. Now, how it is worked out? For example, your stamp duty which is liable to be paid is, let us say, 1 lakh rupees, which was not paid by oversight, it remained. Today, if you want to pay, naturally, you will have to pay, let us say it is more than 16 years old document, naturally 4 times is the penalty, which means as against 1 lakh, now you will have to pay 4 lakh rupees penalty, which means totally you have to pay 5 lakh rupees. If it is, let us, for example, the evaded stamp duty is, in many cases, it is 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. Let us say your stamp duty evaded is, let us say 4 lakhs. And 4 times of that means 16 lakhs is going to be the penalty, which means you have to pay 20 lakhs as against 4 lakhs, which you did not pay. So therefore, it is very important that under the new amnesty scheme, you are getting a waiver of 100% penalty if it is a Schedule 1 document, which we'll discuss. And in some cases, you will get about 80% of the penalty waived. So let me take you to the next slide. If the penalty is not paid and you have not regularized the stamp duty, it is not that the government is going to keep quiet. They are in a position to confiscate your asset. They are in a position to attach the property. If the government comes to know that you have evaded the stamp duty on the complaint made or on verifying the document, they will be able to confiscate. Now, let me tell you, many of the courts or government officer, when they see your document which is insufficiently stamped, then they are authorized by the Stamp Act to take the custody of that document, which is called impounding the document, and they are also authorized, or rather they are duty bound to send it to the stamp duty department. There is a 2 enforcement department. In Maharashtra, we have got enforcement department 1 and enforcement department 2, collector of stamps enforcement and 1 and enforcement 2, who are going to verify the people who are not paid the stamp duty, and then they start confiscating the, not only the document, impounding the document, and even the confiscating the asset if you fail to pay the stamp duty and the penalty. The second is Even there is an imprisonment. There is a provision to imprison in case the people don't pay, even after confiscating and trying to auction the property, and still you are trying to create certain hurdle. The defaulter can be imprisoned also. So therefore, the imprisonment is given under section 59(1) of the Maharashtra Stamp Act 1958. So it is not that if you don't pay the stamp duty, you will be easily escaping the liability. Now, many people say, then why government is coming out with this type of scheme? The government is coming out with this sub scheme because people like us are representing with the government. There are various people who want to pay the stamp duty. Because of the huge penalty, they are not able to pay. Secondly, when many housing societies are looking for conveyance and deemed conveyance, when we are going for a conveyance and deemed conveyance, naturally the stamp duty demands or ask for all the documents of their society. Let us say in a society there are 100 flats. They will ask all 100 flat owners agreement, duly paid stamp duty and registered document. If they have not paid the stamp duty at the time of conveyance, they take the stamp duty. Not only they take the stamp duty, they also take the penalty. And therefore, what we suggest them that at that time, the people will have to pay huge penalty in order to safeguard those people and to give a relief to those housing society members. We have demanded the government to come out with this scheme, which is beneficial. And therefore, I call upon and request everybody that you should take the benefit of the scheme. As I said, the imprisonment is not less than 1 month in case you don't pay the stamp duty, and it can go up to 6 months also. The next question comes, so when is the stamp duty payable? Naturally, stamp duty has to be paid before the execution of the document. Now, before the execution means how many months? So, before execution means the stamp duty when you pay, it is valid for a period of 6 months. So, whenever you are paying the stamp duty, the document of that effect should be done or executed within 6 months. So 1 day prior, on the date of the execution of the document, also you can pay. Even the stamp duty can be paid on the next day of the execution. So it is not that you have to pay on the same day. You can also pay on the next day. So next day of the working of the execution, today you have executed the document, which you can pay the stamp duty on the next working day. The question arises, if I don't pay on the next working day, but I pay after 2 days, can I pay? The answer is yes, you can pay. But at that time, you will have to go to the stamp duty department, get it adjudicated, and you will have to pay, even for 1 day delay, you will have to pay 2% penalty. Why 2%? Because the wording used is 2% per month or part of the month. So if it is a part of the month, even for a 1 day, you will have to pay 2% penalty. So therefore, it is a huge penalty which you need to pay, and therefore one has to take the benefit of this scheme. Instrument with which stamp duty applicable. So the many people ask, sir, you have told us that all the instruments are there. Can you give us some of the example? So there are 63 types of the documents or instrument which is given in Schedule 1 of the Stamp Act. Now, just to give you a few examples, as I said in the beginning, the one is Article 5. That is agreement for sale or all type of agreement. It is not only agreement for sale, memorandum of understanding, any agreement that we execute for movable property, immovable property, or for rights of the film or for development rights, whatever agreement that we make. Second is memorandum of association, articles of association, which is there in Article 10. These are the, I'm just giving you an example. There are 63 types of articles. Article 25 is related to the conveyance. Article 34 is the gift deed, gift, whatever we do. Article 52 is a release. These are some of the examples which are executed and where the stamp duty has to be paid. Now, as I said, there are totally 63 different types of instruments which are covered in Schedule 1. Now, let me take you to the next very important question which normally people ask. What is the significance of the year 1958? What is the significance of year 1980 and 1985? The Maharashtra Stamp Act came into effect from the year 1958, which means from the year 1958, all the stamping in the state of Maharashtra has to be done under the Maharashtra Stamp Act. Prior to that, there was a different law, and it was a Bombay Stamp Act, and of course Indian Stamp Act. But in the case of Maharashtra, now we have Maharashtra Stamp Act 1958. The second is 4th July 1980 is another significant date. On that day, the concept of market value has been introduced in the Stamp Act. What is the market value? Market value is nothing but the involved property on which the instruments are made. If the instrument value is less than the market value as per the ready reckoner value or determined by the government, the stamp will be taken on the market value or the agreement value, whichever is more. Then what is the significance of year 1985? In the year 1985, for the first time, on 10th December 1985, a new amendment was done in the Article 25 of the Stamp Act, which says that the agreement for sale, where there is going to be a conveyance done or a property has to be given handed over the possession of the property in future date, those instruments will be deemed to be the conveyance, and the stamp duty applicable on the conveyance will be taken on the document agreement for sale from the 4th July, 10th January, 10th December 1985. So let me take you once again little repetition that Bombay Stamp Act 1980 came into effect, which was later changed to Maharashtra Stamp Act 1958 in the year 2015, but it came into effect on 11th June 1958. The next, as we know, the next important question is, what is the market value? 4th July 1980, market value concept was introduced in the Stamp Act, which says that any immovable property where the instrument is executed, it could be an agreement for sale, sale deed, conveyance deed, let us say release deed, gift deed, but the stamp duty will be taken as per the market value determined by the department or agreement value, whichever is more. So therefore, stamp duty payable on market value or agreement value, whichever is higher, is the concept. That is on 4th July 1980. Now let me take you to the third significant date. Okay, before that, earlier stamp duty was payable on agreement value only. Prior to 4th July 1980, that means up to 3rd July 1980, from 11th June 1958, the stamp duty was taken on the agreement value. There was nothing called concept called market value. Now let us take to the next very important date, that is 10th December 1985. What happened on 10th December 1985? On 10th December 1985, Article 25 of the Stamp Act was amended, wherein it was said that stamp duty will be payable compulsory on the agreement for sale, considering that to be conveyance. So earlier, there were two concepts. One, as per Article 5, you pay on agreement for sale 5 rupees and get the agreement registered. As and when you get the possession of the premises, when you make the full payment, you enter into a conveyance deed or a sale deed. At that time, you pay the stamp duty. So the payment of stamp duty was postponed prior to 10/12/1985. On 10th December 1985. After 10th December 1985, the concept has been changed. What it says, you pay the stamp duty on conveyance at the time of agreement itself, and at the time of conveyance, you pay nominal value. This means the payment of the stamp duty on the conveyance was preponed. So that is the significance of the 10th December 1985. Before that date, only rupees 5 required to be paid on the agreement for sale, and stamp duty was required to be paid at the time of conveyance. Now let me take you the same thing little further to elaborate it in a better way, so that you understand these 5 important dates, because understanding these 5 important dates are very important, because unless until we get the clarity, you will not know the importance of the stamp duty amnesty scheme. So let me take you through the concept. Yeah. Only 1 minute. This is okay. So, stage I have made it as a part A from beginning of Maharashtra Stamp Act, that is 11th June 1958 till 9th December 1985. What was the scenario? First stage, there are two stages of making the payment of stamp duty. The first stage was on between 11th June 1958 till 9th December 1985. At the time of execution of the agreement for sale, you were required to pay stamp duty as per Article 5H, as per Schedule 1, and rupees 5 only. There was just 5 rupees. But this is important to note, there was no provision to collect the stamp duty label on conveyance at the time of agreement for sale. That means on the agreement for sale, you are paying only 5 rupees. But at the second stage, at the time of execution and registration of a conveyance deed or a sale deed in the name of the society or in the name of purchaser, the people were required to pay stamp duty on the same agreement under Article 25. At that time, applicable stamp duty was up to 50,000, 1 rupees to 50,000. It was 10% of the market value or the agreement value, whichever is more, was the stamp duty paid. Between 50,001 to 1 lakh, the stamp duty payable was 12%. So there was 12% stamp duty. And above 1 lakh, it was 15% stamp duty. I'll give you a classic example so that you will understand. Let us assume the value of the flat is 60,000. At that time, that is used to be the value of the flat. Let us say agreement for sale in the year 1980, let us say 79. The agreement value is 60,000, 1 room kitchen, 1 bedroom kitchen they have taken. Now on that 60,000 rupees, at the time of agreement for sale, you pay 5 rupees because that was 5H. Register the agreement. That's it. However, at the time of conveyance, when the society goes for a conveyance, or you have paid the full duty, let us say by agreement you have paid 60,000 rupees, you have got the possession of the flat, you are supposed to enter into sale deed. Many people don't enter into sale deed, but when they go for a conveyance in the name of society, on that 60,000 rupees, you are supposed to pay up to 50,000, 5,000. On 10,000 rupees, you have to pay 12%. On 10,000, 12% means 1,200. So therefore, 5,000 plus 1,200, that means you are supposed to pay 6,200 as a stamp duty at the time of conveyance. But as I said, the many people were not paying the stamp duty, neither they were executing a sale deed, nor there was a conveyance. So government realized that they are losing huge revenue from the housing societies, the members of housing society who are now never going for conveyance. And therefore, the government decided to change the significance. That is how we have got the P type of document, that is after 10/12/1985. On 10/12/1985, the amendment was carried out. What was the amendment? The amendment is, at the time of execution of agreement for sale, this will be treated as a conveyance, and having treated it as a conveyance, whatever is supposed to be paid at the time of conveyance, they are taking at the time of agreement itself. And at the time of conveyance, you have to pay a nominal duty of 100 rupees. So earlier, nominal duty at the time of agreement, full duty at the time of conveyance. The position changed on 10/12/1985. The provision is like this. At the time of execution of agreement for sale, the provision was made to correct the stamp duty applicable on conveyance at the time of agreement for sale only by inserting explanation 1 to the Article 25. Each agreement for sale was considered as a part conveyance, and it was a deeming provision. And this matter went from the High Court up to Supreme Court. High Court also confirmed, and Supreme Court also has confirmed that government, being a legislative body, they are entitled to make this type of deeming provision, and they are entitled to correct this type of stamp duty in the beginning only. So this way, at the time of conveyance, after 10/12/1985, at the time of execution of the conveyance deed, you are supposed to pay only nominal duty of 100 rupees. I'll give you an example further. Let us assume in a housing society, there are about 100 members. Out of 100 members, 80 people agreement is after 10/12/1985, which means they have paid the stamp duty on the agreement for sale, which is applicable on the conveyance. So therefore, at the time of conveyance, on those 80 people will have to pay 100 rupees. But there are 20 people who have got the agreement prior to 10/12/1985, which they have paid only 5 rupees at the time of agreement for sale, because that was the appropriate stamp duty. Now at the time of conveyance, they will have to pay the stamp duty as per the current market value, because the agreement is getting executed today. So therefore, many people were under the wrong impression that for us, at that time, there was no stamp duty. Why should we pay at the time of conveyance? Now you have a golden opportunity. If the document is before from 1st January 1980 and up to 10/12/1985, if you have not paid the stamp duty, or thereafter also you have not paid the stamp duty, you can submit the document under the amnesty scheme and get the waiver of the stamp duty as well as amnesty scheme penalty, and then you can show this document to the adjudication department when they are going for a conveyance. By this way, you will be able to save huge amount. So let me take you this one. So as I said, I am giving an example. Building construction in 1983 having 100 members, and conveyance of the building is done in the year 2023. 80 members brought flat in the year 1983. So I had to pay 5 rupees only in the 83, because 10/12/1985 prior to 10/12/1985. But in the 1923, when they have to go for the conveyance or deemed conveyance, they will have to pay full stamp. 20 members who brought the agreement in the year 1985 or the flat in the year 1985, they already paid the stamp duty, and because they have paid the stamp duty on their agreement, at the time of conveyance, they have to pay only 100 rupees. So this is how the bifurcation is being done. So therefore, now my request to all the people, those who have got the agreement from prior to 10/12/1985, they can submit the agreement under the amnesty scheme. Whatever stamp duty they have to pay under the Article 25 at the time of conveyance, they can submit the relevant document like electric bill and other documents or evidence of the proof, and maybe membership of a society. All this they can show, and they can pay the stamp duty as applicable under the conveyance, and this way at the time of conveyance they don't have to pay further duty. So let me take you to the further. So covered under Article 34 of the stamp duty on a gift deed. Just to give you a small example, nothing great on this, but I thought let me just tell you how the stamp duty also working differs even on the gift deed, which is Article 34, but in that there are sub articles. How is this? If it is a residential and agricultural property, gift from husband to wife or wife to husband, son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, or wife of a deceased son or a grandson, which I have seen, it will be only 200 rupees. If it is immovable property and agricultural and residential. But if it is other than agriculture and residential property, a gift to husband, wife, brother, sister, lineal, ascendant, and descendant, it will be 3% of the market value. And in the case of others, if you are giving to others, then it will be gift to others or non-relatives. Then it will be 5% of the market value, 1% metro cess. So this is how things are there. The metro cess is applicable from 8th February 2019. Let us assume residential and agricultural property, husband to wife, wife to husband, no problem. Son, daughter, her father to son. So father to grandson, granddaughter, father to all these children and grandchildren, it is 200 rupees. That is agricultural and residential. Suppose grandson wants to give it to grandfather, or son wants to give it to mother or father. In that case, they have to pay 3% stamp duty. So this is only lineal descendant where this type of stamp duty is given as 200 for a gift. Now I will take you to the actually scheme. What is the scheme all about? So I have given you the importance of stamp duty. Now what do you mean by amnesty? Amnesty means forgiveness, pardon, relief, and waiver. All mean one and the same. So therefore you must have seen a lot of places. There is a stamp duty amnesty scheme. There is a GST amnesty scheme. There is an income tax amnesty scheme. There is a commercial tax or property tax amnesty scheme, water tax amnesty scheme. So these have different amnesty schemes have come. This has been issued by the government of Maharashtra to give relief to some type of document, certain instrument of document. It is not that everything is covered, but this scheme has covered all type of documents, all 63 types of document. It also has covered agriculture, non-agricultural, all type of documents are covered, which we'll discuss. So under the previous scheme, it was limited to only MADA or maybe limited to residential for a housing society. It was not covering development agreement. It was not covering commercial property. It was not covering agricultural land. This time, agricultural land, non-agricultural land, industrial land, commercial land, office premises, everything has been covered, which is the unique scheme. And I will tell you, if you don't take the benefit of this scheme, I think people are really going to lose a huge opportunity. I am here to explain you what you may lose. I am not here to say that the government has come, so you vote for the government, or this could be a political game, whatever it is. At the end of the day, I need to look at what is the benefit that I am getting. The benefit that you are getting is there's a waiver of stamp duty, there's a waiver of penalty under the scheme. So this has been introduced by the government from 7th December 2023. So therefore, it is better that by government order they are done. This is the government order number and 7th December 2020. So what is the time period for availing the benefit of the scheme? The scheme started from 1st December 2023 and it is valid up to 31st March 2024. Okay. Now, the scheme has got, of course, launched in two different phases, which I will discuss, but they are covering a document or an agreement or an instrument which is executed from 1st January 1980 till 31st December 2020. That means for a 40 years document, this scheme is applicable. So let us look at the first phase. First phase originally was from 1st December 2023 to 31st January 2024. Now it has been extended and to 29th February 2024. Now the scheme has been extended up to 29th February 2024. So therefore, phase 1 is still available. I think whoever is watching this program or going to know this scheme, they should take the benefit of the first phase. The second phase starts from 1st March 2024 and as on today, it is ending on 31st March 2024. So the clock is clicking and the benefit you should take as early as possible. So as I said, this 31st January 2024 now has been extended up to 29th February 2024 by issuing a corrigendum or an added notification. Now, second phase now will start from 1st March 2024 to 31st March 2024. So extended on 31st January 2024 by Deputy Secretary Satyanarayan Balaji by issuing a notification. Now, instruments covered under the scheme. Now, the next question normally participants ask in any webinar or seminar is, sir, which are the documents covered? Whether this is my document, whether this is covered, not covered. Let us look at the documents which are covered, instruments which are covered. One, instrument relating to conveyance, deemed conveyance, sale deed. It could be agreement to sale, lease deed, sale certificate by auction, gift deed, agreement relating to deposit of title deeds. When you are taking a loan, pawn, pledge, hypothecation, residential, non-residential, industrial use. As I said, anything and everything under the sky, all the documents related to immovable property, all the types of the documents, whether it's a mortgage, pledge, hypothecation, everything is covered. Now, agreement or memorandum of agreement relating to transfer of immovable property for the purpose of residential use, commercial use, or conveyance of allotment letter which is issued by MADA, CIDCO, SRA to the slum developers for their rehabilitation or under the sale. Whatever the document related to, which is covered, even allotment letters are covered. Conveyance of allotment or residential, non-residential units in a registered cooperative society whose deemed conveyance is pending. I will spend 2-3 minutes over here. In a case, in a society where you are staying, if they are planning to go for deemed conveyance, and your agreements are 1979, 1980, 81, 84, so 80 to 85, or you have got the position after 85, so that means conveyance has been done. In that case, because your conveyance is pending, deemed conveyance is pending, you are able to take the benefit of the scheme. In the earlier scheme, when people had applied, the government had returned the document saying that no, this is not possible for you to give the amnesty scheme benefit because from prior to 10/12/1985 there was no provision to collect the stamp duty. Therefore, they had returned the document. Because there was no provision to collect, neither there was such relief given under the amnesty scheme. But under this amnesty scheme, they have specially mentioned that in a society, housing society, where the deemed conveyance is pending and they want to pay the stamp duty, even if the document is prior to 10/12/1985, they will be able to take the benefit by making an application and by giving the necessary document of evidence like membership of a society or telephone bill or electric bill or any government evidence. And this is how this scheme is excellent. And I strongly suggest that if your society deemed conveyance is pending or a conveyance is pending, you should verify whether your document is properly stamped or not. If it is not properly stamped, you should take the benefit of the scheme. Any type of development agreement, conveyance deed, agreement to sell, instrument of transaction of assignment, lease deed, everything, development rights, everything is covered related to the redevelopment of any dilapidated old buildings or human property whose development is necessary. So any development agreement on which stamp duty is not paid, you will be able to pay. Similarly, as I said, for the first time, all type of document is covered. In a company, if there is a merger, amalgamation, demerger, arrangement, reconstruction of companies under the Companies Act by way of a court order or NCLT order, so even then you will be able to pay. You must have not paid the stamp duty at that time. Now you will be able to pay the stamp duty by submitting a document under the amnesty. So any type of instrument executed by MADA, its divisional board, CIDCO, municipal corporation, or all government authorities, common authorities, or Nagar Panchayat, planning authority like MIDC, SRA, anybody who gives any document which is not properly stamped, you can pay. Further, it says, first allotment letter shall be issued by a cooperative society for residential or non-residential on a government land. Which are the government land? Which is issued government land belonging to MADA, CIDCO, municipal corporation, or a Gram Panchayat, Nagar Panchayat, council, approved planning authority like MIDC. So anybody who has a government land or a common authority's land on which housing society is there, and they have issued a first allotment letter, which is not on a stamp paper, still you can take the benefit of the scheme. So what are the benefits of the scheme? So what government has done under the scheme, there are two different phases. Phase 1, which we know started already on 1st December 2023. Now it is going to end on 29th of February 2024. Second phase is from 1st of March 2024 to 31st of March 2024. Now, instrument also divided into Schedule 1 instrument and Schedule 2 instrument. What are Schedule 1 instrument? Schedule 1 instrument, the document which is executed on 1st January 1980 till 31st December 2000 is called Schedule 1 document. And if you are applied in the phase 1, which is from 1st December 2023 to 29th February 2024, in that case, look at the bonus, look at the relief. If your stamp duty evaded is, let us assume, is less than 1 lakh rupees, you have to pay the stamp duty of less than 1 lakh rupees. All the documents I can tell you, agreement for sale, which is executed from 1st January 1980 till 31st, let us say, even December 1985. In this year, whatever instruments have been done, even after that, let us say up to 2000, I would say the stamp duty is certainly less than 1 lakh rupees. And if it is 1 lakh, less than 1 lakh rupees, because it is a nominal stamp duty, and you are applying under the amnesty scheme, then you don't have to pay single rupee stamp duty. 100% stamp duty is waived. Whatever penalty, because stamp duty is waived, penalty is also waived. So if your document is prior to 31st December 2000 and you have applied before 29th February 2024, then you are required to pay, maybe if it is less than 1 lakh, 0% stamp duty and 0 penalty. However, assuming that your stamp duty is more than 1 lakh rupees, assume in that case also you get 50% discount or relief in the stamp duty and 100% waiver in the penalty. So therefore, I am suggesting that this is one of the landmark decision, and therefore anybody whose documents are from January 1980 till 31st December 2000, you should take the benefit of the scheme. You have to simply submit the document, they will endorse, and it will be returned. Many people call me and request me and ask me, sir, why should I do? At that time, there was only 20,000 stamp duty. I will pay at the time of conveyance. I said, that is your choice. But let me tell you, we don't know when the law changes, how law changes. Because earlier, they were taking the stamp duty as on the current market value, because at the present date, you are executing the document. In case in future, if this type of provision comes, then you will be nowhere. In order to avoid that, and secondly, there is an amendment in the Stamp Act also in the year 2013, which says that even if you have paid any stamp duty, okay, on the agreement, at the time of registration of conveyance deed, you will have to pay the differential stamp duty at the time of registration. This amendment also has been done. In order to avoid all this complication, I would suggest to take care of the future uncertainties. I advise you that you submit the document under the phase 1, take the benefit of the scheme, get the endorsement done that you have submitted under the amnesty scheme. Therefore, you are not liable to pay some stamp duty. Or even if you are liable to pay, you have to pay only 50%. Pay that and get the document regularized. This is my sincere advice to you. And suppose you apply because you have missed the date and you saw this on the YouTube or in the Moneylife Foundation a little later. Let us say in the month of March you are seeing. In that case also, if we apply, phase instrument, schedule 1 instrument that is executed prior to 31st December 2000, you will have to pay up to 1 lakh. The reduction in the stamp duty is 80%. You will have to pay only 20% stamp duty, and 80% penalty also is reduced. So you will have to pay only 20% penalty. If it is more than 1 lakh, then the stamp duty is waived up to 40%, which means you have to pay 60% stamp duty, and penalty is waived up to 70%, which means you have to pay 30% penalty. So if the instrument is of the phase 1, schedule 1, and you are doing it in the second phase, then there is a differential stamp duty you will have to pay, and differential penalty also you have to pay. However, if the instrument, let us assume for a minute, instrument is executed after 1st January 2001 till 31st December 2020, that is called Schedule 2 document, which means next following 20 years. In that case, you will have to pay. What happens? You will have to pay the stamp duty. If you have made an application between 1st December 2023 to 29th February 2024, then you will have to pay only nominal duty, that's up to 25 crore. Reduction in the stamp duty is 25%, up to 25 crore, and 75% stamp duty will have to be paid. 25% is waived off, and 75% you have to pay. And reduction in the penalty, if the penalty amount is less than 25 lakhs, then 90% of the penalty is waived, and naturally 10% payment of penalty will have to be made. But if the penalty is more than 25 lakhs, in that case, maximum penalty which you have to pay is only 25 lakhs, rest is waived. Let us assume your payment of stamp duty evaded is more than 25 crore. Then you will get 20% reduction in the stamp duty payable, 80% you have to pay. And as far as penalty is concerned, up to 1 crore, you will have to pay the penalty. The rest of the penalty is waived off. So this is the beauty of the scheme. Suppose you apply under the phase 2, that is after March 2024. In that case, up to 25 crore, you will have to pay the stamp duty up to 80%, 20% reduction in the stamp duty, penalty up to 50 lakh rupees. You will get the penalty waiver up to 80% and 20% will be waived. If it is beyond 50 lakhs, okay, for amount, in that case, you will have to pay only 50 lakhs as a penalty, rest everything will be waived. And in the second, suppose stamp duty payable is 25 crore and more. In that case, you will have to pay 90% stamp duty, 10% waiver is there, and penalties will be charged up to 2 crore. The rest of the penalty will be waived. So this is one of the best of the schemes which I have seen. Now, some of the FAQs which we normally get in the seminar is how to apply. In order to apply, there is a government website where you can go, that is www.igrmaharashtra.gov.in. If you go on that website, there is a right-hand corner, there is a Amnesty scheme, Abhay Yojana 2023. You click there, you create your login and password, and you can apply online by scanning and everything. And original document and with all the residential proof like your KYC, photo, and your residential proof, plus the document is of, let us say, 1985. At the relevant times, electric bill, telephone bill, which is standing in your name, you will have to give, so that it will be proved that the document is executed at that time. Otherwise, what happens? Many people take the Telgi stamp paper, backdated stamp paper, and they try to evade the legitimate duty. Secondly, they also may evade the income tax and other complication. In order to avoid all this, government says that you need to give an evidence, one more evidence, that the document was executed at that time. Then only they are allowing you to take the benefit of the scheme. Second, it has to be executed on the stamp paper, very important. Other than MADA, collector land, other things, the allotment letter, everything can be, even a housing society allotment letter can be on a plain paper. For rest of the people, it should be on a nominal stamp paper. Third thing is that you need to give a evidence that it was executed at that time. So what are the general FAQs? What documents need to be submitted along with the application for availing the scheme? One, original instrument on which, of course, if you want to give directly physical without going into online, yes, you can go to the department. Now, every district, there is a collector of stamps. And in every taluka, you will have one or two sub-registrar's office. You can go to the sub-register office, you can make an application there. You can go to the collector of stamps, you can make an application. Both the officers are permitted to collect the document and give you the benefit of the scheme. So what are the documents required? One, original instrument on which some amount of stamp duty is paid. Now the question arises, I have lost my original agreement. I have a Xerox. I have got a police complaint. I have got a paper notice. I have got all the things. Can I go under the amnesty scheme? Answer is no. The scheme is applicable if you have only original agreement, because you may be a genuine person, but as you know, there may be some people who take the benefit of this scheme and then they may do some mischief. Therefore, this type of things are not good. So, original instrument on which some amount of stamp duty is paid or specified allotment letter issued by the authorities or government, CHS on a government land, they are entitled to take the benefit of the scheme. Copy of the society registration certificate is a must. Copy of BMC assessment in order to understand if there is any discount need to be given, depreciation to be given. IOD CC of the building if you have got a property card and share certificate. Why property card? Just to get the survey number and all. Share certificate front and back where your names are endorsed. And then some residential proof you'll have to give. What are the residential proof? That either telephone bill, electric bill, because in order to collect the stamp duty at that time, which I have not mentioned here, you will have to give that. The second thing comes, what documents need to be submitted along with the application for availing the amnesty scheme? Copy of Aadhaar card, PAN card, letter from the society about details of the flat, apartment, authority letter. If you are sending somebody else other than you in person, then you need to give an authority letter and proof of having the taken position, which I said, electricity bill, entry in Form A at the time of formation of society. Form A is the form of application for registration of society, then telephone bill, passport, some document evidence that your instrument was executed at that time, you had taken the position of the flat at that time. This is very important. Even a bank passbook will do. The next question, my agreement is on a plain paper without stamp. Can I avail the benefit of the scheme? The answer is no, not eligible. However, if it is on the government land, a society has given on the letterhead, yes, you can go for the benefit of the scheme. But other than government land or a collector land or MADA land or MADA allotment letter, BMC allotment letter, government allotment letter, other than that, it should be on a stamp paper. If stamp duty and penalty paid before the scheme, can I claim the refund? Answer is no. You are not entitled for any refund. How to apply for the scheme? Within how many days I will have to make the payment? See, application to be made through the online mode, as I said, www or https colon igrmaharashtra.gov.in. In this website you can go. On the right hand side there is a column called Abhay Yojana. From there you can click in and you can go through the steps which are given. Very simple steps. You create your own login and password and then give the property detail. There are 63 types of document. You mention which are the type of document. You scan your agreement for sale, all the proof that I have told you, scan it and keep it self-attested, and then upload. Thereafter, you'll have to take the printout of that application, and then you have to submit the original along with the self-attested, all the evidences to the stamp office. Only then you will get the demand notice. If you have simply done an online application, the demand notice you are not getting, they are not verifying the online application. So therefore, my suggestion is you can straight away go and make offline submission to the department. Once you do that, the government will issue the demand notice from the date of 7 days, from the date of receiving the demand notice. If at all anything is there, you will have to pay the stamp duty within 7 days. Earlier it used to be given 60 days, but this time they have given only 7 days time to make the payment from the date of receipt of the demand notice. Next is how to tell if stamp paper is real or fake. You don't have to do anything. You have to only submit the proper application. The department will, at their own end, will verify, and if required, they will ask you to come and get the document verified from the general stamp office. So therefore, you don't have to worry on that. Assume that your all documents are genuine. So with this, my FAQs are over, and as I was given 1 hour's time, I have tried to finish my presentation within 1 hour. Now I would request the organizer, Akshay, to take the questions. Now,
Yes, sir.
the first question of you can ask me the questions which is there in the chat box, so I will start answering. That will be better.
Yes. Thank you very much for the presentation, sir. So we'll take the questions. If anybody has a question they want to ask directly, you can use the raise hands button and I'll unmute you. Okay, Ms. Kinjal Shah is there. She wants to ask a question, so I'll unmute her.
Then before that, I think there are so many people who have put in the chat box. Otherwise,
We'll
I will
take-
take the question.
yes.
You can just read those questions. It
We'll
becomes
do that. Yes, we'll do that.
yeah.
Yeah, hello. Hi, sir. This is Kinjal Shah.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, my question is one of my client, an advocate. One of my client, he has an SRA flat. So, as you said that even SRA, the flat allotted under SRA scheme is eligible for the amnesty scheme. So we approached the SRA department, but they told us that we have not been issued any such circular and it cannot be done. So how true is that, sir? Is it possible? Or
No, you have gone to the wrong department. Do you have an agreement of allotment given to you on a stamp paper? Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Do you have an agreement which
Sir,
is
we have an agreement which is a registered. The builder had allotted under the SRA scheme of flat under SRA.
okay.
So we have the registered agreement, but the agreement is notarized registered, not a stamp document.
Fine.
And we have an allotment letter also.
Fine. What you need to do is you have not to go to SRA because SRA is not the department who collects the stamp duty. Stamp duty, there is a separate department, collector of stamps at MMRD. If it is in Mumbai, you have to go to MMRD Mumbai. Where is your client's building? Hello?
Sir, he's unmuting me, so 1 second. Yeah, it is in Kandivali, Mumbai.
If it is in Kandivali, then the stamp duty, collector of stamp duty department is in MMRDA near family
Very well.
on the first floor. You go there and submit. There is an application which you have to take, which is available on the government gadget or Google it, you will get. And then you apex the agreement, original agreement, and also take a Xerox self-certify and give all the proof of allotment letter given by the SRA, and they will take it and endorse it, saying that further stamp duty need not be paid because it is anyhow going to be on 100 rupees only. So they will say that you don't have to pay further duty. So please take that endorsement. That is more than enough. Okay, you don't have to go to SRA department. You have to go to the collector of stamps at respective collector's office. Okay. So what is the stamp
I'll take a question.
prior to 1980? See, Samir Roy, what is the stamp duty? See, prior to 1980, if it is an agreement for sale, it was 5 rupees. But if you want to pay stamp duty under the Amnesty scheme today, you need to give some proof that you got the we have to call position after 1980. Let us say 1980 electric bill, 1980 society registration form A, or some telephone bill, something you can give. And once you give that and say that I want to pay the stamp duty, though agreement is of 1975 or 77, but you have got the position in the year 1980, you want to pay the stamp duty, you just give the position letter and share certificate and other proof, then the government will take the stamp duty on the market value of 1980. However, as I said, market will be, even at that time, even if you consider it to be 2 lakh rupees, it is not going to be that. The stamp duty will be less than 1 lakh. So therefore, it will be nil. But you will get an endorsement on the agreement saying that you don't have to pay the stamp duty under the amnesty scheme, you are exempted. So therefore, it is advisable for you to go for this type of scheme. Yeah.
So there is an interesting question from Eugene Athaide. How will we know if stamp duty is paid or pending for instrument before the year 2000? Because many people has got these instruments or stamp papers or agreements, but they don't know whether the appropriate stamp duty has been paid or no. So how they will understand that?
Sir, I'm saying unless until those documents are certified by the stamp duty department, whether they are paid properly or not, we will not know. So therefore, the government department now says that we are going to give you a relief of amnesty penalty. We are also giving you a relief in the stamp duty. Why don't you come to us, apply under the scheme, and we will determine if there is any balance. We will take it. If it is not there, we will certify that you have paid full stamp duty. So it is not any professional who can do it. You have to go to the department, make an application. They will go through the document. They will read the document, collect some of the proof from you, and then they will certify. So it is the only adjudication department of the collector of stamps who will certify this. So now the government says we will certify. So therefore, my submission and request is that please go and get it certified under the scheme, and they will certify.
Okay.
Yes. Mr. Mitesh Shah wants to know, how do you check the process of the application, status of the application once it is filed?
That's correct. See, normally your Aadhaar card, your number, your mobile number, especially your email address, plus your address is taken. The department, normally after 7 days, they call you and they say that collect your demand. So maybe 1 or 2 times you will have to visit there, and thereafter they will intimate. Or the other thing is, suppose if they are busy in the election duty and all, what you can do is you can always send an application under RTI give me the status of my application under so and so. Then within 30 days, they have to give the status. So they will send you the status, whether it is applicable or not applicable. Once you get one status, you are not happy, then you can file in the first appeal under RTA, sitting at home. You don't have to go there. So this is one way of looking at it. Secondly, if you are able to visit over there once in a week, let us say every Monday you go and visit at a determined time, that can happen. Third, if you don't do anything, you need to keep a track whether they are issuing you a notice or not. If they are not issuing a notice after 1 or 2, 3 months, then you can visit them. So this way, you don't have to go personally. You can authorize anybody to go and do the things. If you are giving to the professional, yes, they will take care, because their people are always there in the stamp duty department and they inform you everything. Yeah. And I'm not propagating or advocating that you should go to the advocate, consultant, or do it. It is a very easy scheme which you can do yourself. And the department also is helping. They have opened the counter in every department. There is a helpline which is given by them. That means help desk which is given. You can take the benefit of that. Even under the Maharashtra Societies Welfare Association also, we at Andheri have opened a help desk which you can take. Yeah.
Correct. Mr. S.Y. Prabhu wants to know, if a flat or a sale transaction happened in 1997 and the stamp duty at that time was paid as per the suggestion of the lawyer, how do we know if it was correct, or where do we find the ready reckoner rate of 1997?
No, you don't have to know anything. As I said, according to your advocate, according to you must have paid a profit. I'm not denying that. But naturally, this has to be certified by the department. So therefore, better you go to the department, file an application, and get it certified from them. And if it is less than 1 lakh, of course, they will not charge you anything. They will simply endorse, yes, you have paid, and remaining 1 lakh is, or whatever, 50,000, 25,000 exempted. Better to get it vetted from the department. Now, your question is, where is the ready reckoner available? Yes, you can Google it, you will get. Otherwise, you can visit our office at Andheri or the stamp duty department. There are every taluka, I said, there is a sub-registrar's office, there is a collector of stamps at every district. You can just go there, verify, ask them. But I would suggest, don't do all this exercise. The best exercise, whether you are required to pay or don't require to pay, but it is better to get certified from the department. And unless until it is certified, that cannot be considered to be finally paid. Therefore, I request you, please do this. Whether understamped partnership deed can be submitted under the scheme, answer is yes. You can always go to the department, make an application, and even underpaid under this one, all type of instruments are covered. So even partnership, they will accept. Recording will be available on YouTube channel. Yes, it will be available.
There's a follow-up question from Mr. Prabhu. He wants to know if the stamp duty has been appropriately paid, but if the registration hasn't happened, then what are the implications?
See, whether the scheme is applicable for registration, answer is no. This is only for recovering the stamp duty. Registration is a separate act, Registration Act 1908. Under that, both the parties required to be present in the registrar's office. And in many of the cases, the seller is not available. Therefore, one-party declaration is not possible. On 22nd December 2011, government has come out with the circular that one-party declaration will not register, because many people had done a fraud and wrong documents. They have registered one party, and it has created complication. Even the Supreme Court in one of its order is said that unless and until both the parties come before the registering authority, the document should not be registered. Considering that, government has issued a circular on 22nd December 2011 that one party declaration will not be registered. Now the question is, will it come in future? Answer is possibly yes, because we have represented to the government the way there is a deemed conveyance where builder is not coming and land and building can be conveyed to the society in the absence of the builder. Why not? In the absence of a seller, one flats agreement should not be registered by the registrar. So we have requested the government, in future government may make amendment in the act, and they in the Registration Act or in the Maharashtra Ownership Flats Act or in the Apartment Act or in any other way, they may come out with certain amendment, which we have suggested that the amendment may be done in the Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act itself. section 4, so that we will be able to do registration of the document by taking suggestion, objection, or some show or notice to the other side. Presently, if you want to get it document registered, you will have to go to the city civil court. That is the provision right now available, and city civil court may direct the seller to register the document. If it is not registered, certainly you can go and request the registrar court to appoint a registrar to execute the agreement. So these are the things which is possible, but now it is not there. The scheme is only for stamp duty payment.
I'll unmute Mr. Ajit Shah. You can ask your question, Mr. Shah.
Yeah, Ajit. And RV, there is another person, RV.
Yes, I'm unmuting Mr. Ajit Shah first. Mr. Ajit Shah, you can ask your question.
Okay.
I think he's not available. I'll unmute Mr. RV. You can ask your question.
Yeah, Ajit,
Okay.
Ajit Shah, tell me, what is your question?
Yeah, please can I go ahead? RV.
Yeah, RV, tell me.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Sir, my first agreement is in 1984 with the builder. That is the first owner. Then I bought it in 1993. And I paid a stamp duty accordingly. And but it was not adjudicated. My agreement when it is 1993 is 1,10,000. I paid a stamp duty of 1,100 rupees. And it was not adjudicated. So and I protected professionals to do the amenities, the work for amenities scheme, but they are asking very heavy fee, around 20,000. Whether it is necessary for me to go for now, or I can do later on, get it adjudication and pay the. I think it is a very nominal payment will come for if it is permanent.
No, you should apply under the amnesty scheme. Penalty will not be there, and even the differential stamp duty also you need not pay. So you can just apply, follow up with the department. I would strongly suggest that you apply under the scheme, and even if there is a 20,000 stamp duty, that will be waived under the first phase, and even the penalty will be waived. So if you think that some consultants are asking a huge amount, if you personally go, I think 1 or 2 visits are required. You will be able to get through it, and you can authorize your any of the family members or your staff, and based on that also you can do. There is no problem. Yes,
Mr.
Sir, I need to solve the issue. How can I approach you on a professional basis? So you can always go through the YouTube channel or Google it. You will get to know my numbers and all, and you can ask to Moneylife. They will give you the connect. So
I'll unmute Mr. RV so he can ask his question.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, see, on my the plot of land where my building stands, there was once some private limited company. Okay, so the builder purchased shares of this private limited company, formed another company, and issued shares to all flat owners. So all flat owners have a share certificate, and they've paid 0.5% stamp duty on the agreement value. They paid 0.5% and have own shares of this company. So what is your view? I mean, is it correct or should we?
It is not correct. You will have to pay appropriate stamp duty. Which year is this agreement? Any idea? Okay. So I will only tell you that I don't think you have paid the appropriate stamp duty. There was a trend during that time. They used to form a private company. They used to allot the shares, or form a society, allot the shares, and they used to say that you don't have to pay the stamp duty because we already paid on the memorandum articles or the conveyance deed when we purchased the land. All these are not proper. You will have to pay the stamp duty. My suggestion to you is, please submit that document to the adjudication department under the amnesty scheme and get it certified. Yes, Sanjeev.
Sanjeev Gupta, I'm unmuting you.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Prabhu.
Yeah.
Mr. Prabhu, my question is, I've got a rent agreement. The original is destroyed. Now I have to produce that in front of the court. Both the parties are willing to come to the register office to register. The original agreement was unregistered. It was notarized. So is it possible now to regularize that agreement?
No, you will have
Agreement
to
was,
today's date.
yeah.
Because you have a Xerox copy of the agreement. Xerox copy of the agreement, they don't believe because you must have done a Xerox on another paper. You must have got it notarized. So if you don't have a original, even if you give a public notice, you give a police complaint, the department is very strict. They are saying you do it on today's date. Na? They will take today's stamp duty and they will take today's registration. 90% of the market value will be considered as the market value of the property, and on that 6% stamp duty will be levied. If you want to get it regularized, do that way. You don't have an option, and you cannot pay the stamp duty under the amnesty scheme on the Xerox.
Mr. Pradeep Kakkad wants to ask a question, so I'm unmuting him.
Yeah.
Thank you. Prabhu sir,
Huh.
I bought the property when I was staying in USA in 1988.
Okay.
And the proceedings were done by my uncle here.
Huh.
And I don't know whether he has paid it or not. I have no idea. I have no original documents of purchase agreement. And I went to the Bandra Kurla complex today to find out what to do. And they said, unless you give us the original agreement, there is nothing we can do.
That's correct.
What is my solution?
Do you have a registration receipt or something?
I have nothing because I was staying in USA and people who were handling my situation here, that person has died. And he died many years ago. So,
Okay. Your society is registered?
yes,
Okay. Do they have any copy of the agreement?
I believe they do. Yes.
Then why don't you take a copy from them?
I
Second,
asked,
Huh.
go ahead. Say what you want to say.
Then what they said?
So I asked them, said society will have the copy. And they said that it will not be acceptable because you are the one who is supposed to have it.
You leave that aside.
Okay.
Why don't you take a copy from the society?
Ah, okay.
Xerox. We
Okay.
don't know whether it is registered or not registered. If it is registered, then we will have a registration receipt. From there, we can get a certified copy from the department.
Okay.
If the document is not registered,
Okay.
in that case, you can file a police complaint. At least you have a Xerox copy of the agreement. You can issue a public notice, prepare an indemnity bond, and thereafter, you take a letter from the society that you are a member of the society with all this allotment letter from the society, all that you do. And thereafter, you go to the department, file an application saying that I don't have any document except share certificate. On the original share certificate, they have started taking the stamp duty. So you give a stamp duty, you can pay the stamp duty even on the share certificate. But something original has to be there. So all these evidences can be given. You try with that. If nothing happens, then you can do all this documentation and gift it to your wife, children, or XYZ, 5%, 10%, so that an evidence that you are the owner of the flat is recorded in the government record. So these all exercise can be done. Maybe you'll have to meet one professional, understand, take time, because department will not explain you all these complex issues. Okay. Yeah.
We'll take a question from the chat. Mr. Kanta Tripathi wants to know his flat was purchased in 1967. There was no stamp agreement, only a receipt of 45,000 stamped on the revenue stamp. Since then, he has gifted the flat to his daughter and also registered it. Still, they are refusing to accept the payment to regularize the document.
No, they don't have to worry about it. Leave it. Since you are already gifted and you have registered the gift deed, it is of 1967 or 69. Leave it. Don't do anything. It is not required.
Right. If anybody else has a question, they can raise a hand and I'll unmute you.
Some questions were left out. I saw that. Whether chain of documents require the payment of stamp duty? The answer is, if at all, any document, chain of document after 1985, yes, you need to pay the stamp duty. So there is no question that you can avoid that. Okay. So therefore, it is better you pay the stamp duty on that. Okay. And there was a sale signed in the year 1979 with a value of 43,000. Can I pay the stamp duty? The answer is yes. Even though it is of 1979, still you can pay. What if the conveyance was not done by the builder? If the conveyance is not done by the builder, at the time of conveyance, you will have to pay the stamp duty. So there is no question that you will not be required to pay the stamp duty. At the time of conveyance, you will have to pay. Therefore, it's better you pay the stamp duty. Even now, we are the third owner. First owner is of 1982. Agreement is available in original with the builder. Second owner is 1983. Copy is available, not original. But the second owner is signed and amended on the first original agreement. And then you have third document. So at least if these documents are there and you want to really pay the stamp duty, you can make an application with the residence proof and get it regularized. So there should not be any problem. Samir Roy says, stamp duty will be paid on chain of document or last document. As I said, any document after 10/12/1985 requires payment of stamp duty. So therefore, I suggest if you have got a chain of document after 10/12/1985, you should pay. Okay. So if the stamp duty is not paid, what are the implications? I think I already told you.
Yes.
That if you don't pay, it will not be treated as evidence in the court of law. You will be prosecuted. The document can be impounded. If they come to know, they can charge up to 4 times penalty on the document. If the flat is joint name, can a PAN Aadhaar just of one owner is sufficient? That is enough. There's no problem. You don't have to apply and give all the owners this one. One is more than enough. So I think maximum thing I have covered.
Yes. I think we have answered everything. If anybody still has a question, they can raise their hands and I'll unmute you. Otherwise, we'll wrap the session here. So I think we don't have any more questions.
Yeah,
I think we'll end it here.
Prabhu says if the stamp duty is appropriately paid but not registered, then what are the implications? There are no implications. Don't worry. Earlier, the registration of the agreement was not compulsory. Only from April 2021 onwards, the registration of agreement for sale also has come compulsory. Earlier, it was not there. So there is no much implication. And whether you have paid stamp duty appropriately or not, better you submit the document to the government and get it done. Okay. How will I know if the stamp duty pending on the instrument or not? I think we have answered. That will be known only when you submit to the department. That is the only way, because various consultants may give various information. Better you get it authenticated from the department only. So thank you very much, Akshay. And
thank you so much for the presentation, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak and help our members understand the stamp duty amnesty scheme. I'm sure they must have a lot more questions if they want to ask. They can send us an email at foundation@moneylife.in. We'll get those answered from Mr. Prabhu, or even Mr. Shirish Chandba can help you. We have
you can put your email address on the chat box.
Yes.
That we will be able to connect with you, and maybe some numbers also you can put of Chandba, so that you can discuss with them. Moneylife.com. So I think that is already put in the chat box. The email address of the Moneylife is foundation@moneylife.in. I think you should be able to connect with them on the email, and we will answer those as and when it is received from them.
Yes.
So I'll answer within 24 hours. That commitment I can give you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this nice presentation. Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.